they can look at the folks out there and say, I promise you, you have my whole heart, my whole soul, my energy, and my passion to do this. And I'd be lying if I said that I knew I was there.
An emotional Vice President Biden this week, still grieving the loss of his son, Beau, as he wrestles with a decision about running for president. And it's time now for our Sunday group. Fox News senior political analyst Brit Hume, Julie Pace, who covers the White House for the Associated Press, syndicated columnist George Will, and Fox News political analyst Juan Williams. Well, Brit, you've known Joe Biden a long time. We can all see he is clearly struggling with this decision and with his mourning the loss of his son, Beau. And yet, his struggle, it seems to me, only makes him more appealing to people, voters in this age when they're searching for authentic politicians. Your thoughts about whether he's actually going to run?
Well, as someone who lost a son myself, I can tell you that grief is enervating. And when he says, as you heard him just say, about whether he couldn't only commit to this project of running for president with the full energy that he would normally have, I think that's probably true. And I think he's always also wanted to be president, very much wanted to be president, run several times. So I think he is genuinely torn, and I think it's unpredictable how he will come out on this.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but obviously you have been through a similar experience. Is there some therapy to be gained from throwing yourself into work?
Well, I came back to work after 2 weeks, I remember, after my son died, and I think it is helpful, but it's not as if he's without a job. I mean, he's the Vice President of the United States and has plenty to do. Running for president, though, takes things up to about double your normal level. I mean, it really is an exhausting experience, and I can certainly understand why he might not be prepared for it, not to mention, the fact that it draws your whole family into what will undoubtedly be a turbulent, rough and tumble path, and that's also something he obviously has on his mind.
Julie, I'm sure they are watching this with great interest in the Obama White House. Talking to your sources, what do they think? Do they think he's going to get in? How do they think he'd do against Hillary? And maybe most important, who do you get a sense they would trust more, Hillary or Biden, to carry the Obama torch?
It's a big unknown in the White House right now whether Joe Biden will run or not, for the exact reasons that Britt is pointing out. We can analyze his donor base, we can look at who he's meeting with, but at the end of the day, this is going to be a very personal decision for him, and he's not let a lot of people in on that. The White House was in the same position that most of the Democratic Party was for months, which is that Hillary Clinton was the strongest candidate in the field. She would be the inevitable nominee, and she would be the best person to carry on the Obama legacy, keep a lot of his agenda items in place. They've been very frustrated, though, with the way she's handled this email issue. Behind the scenes, at least, they're pretty plain-spoken about that. And there is a lot of...
They're plain-spoken. What do they say?
They're frustrated that she put the White House in the position to have to answer all of these questions. If you remember when this first broke, this dominated White House briefings for several weeks. And they also are a bit confused about the way she's handled the fallout from it. And there's a lot of loyalty to Joe Biden in the White House. At the same time, I think the overarching concern for a lot of Biden loyalists is, would he go through this process and then lose?
As for Clinton, finally this week, after 6 months of refusing to apologize, however reluctantly, she finally said she was sorry. Here's the big moment.
That was a mistake. I'm sorry about that. I take responsibility.
There it came, there it went. George, given the fact that it took reportedly 2 days of focus groups and pleas from personal friends and advisors to get her to say that much, how much does she get out of that?
Well, she didn't apologize for anything, really. What we just showed was that was a mistake. What's the antecedent of the pronoun that? If you unpack this word salad she served up on ABC, it turns out she apologized for not being clearer in a more timely manner about the fact that she has nothing to apologize for. That's what she said. She said, I could have done a better job of answering questions earlier. I didn't really perhaps appreciate the need to do that. What I had done was allowed. It was above board. Again, next paragraph, it was allowed. There was no hiding it. It was totally above board. So she has said that it's a great misunderstanding about her innocence, and she's at fault for not making her innocence clear sooner. But once you get beyond that, at the I don't know that the country's following this very much, but they see a kind of floundering here, and they see stories about the FBI investigations, and they see aides taking the Fifth Amendment before congressional committees. While this is going on, she's essentially losing right now to Bernie Sanders, because the contest is really in Iowa and in New Hampshire at this point, and she's essentially losing there. She's losing there to a man who says the problem is the billionaire class. There are 536 people in this country who are billionaires. That's the sufficient to put her in a losing position to this guy. So I don't think it's working.
Juan, there was a story on the front page of the Washington Post today that says that the company that was managing her private server says they don't know anything about the server being wiped clean. They think that even if she deleted those 30,000 emails about Chelsea's wedding and yoga, that they may still be retrievable. That would get pretty interesting if they could find out those other 30,000 emails and whether they really were private.
Right. Well, I mean, so the question is, was she telling the truth when she said they were all about personal issues, as you suggested, yoga, wedding plans, and all the rest? But that's about it. I mean, so then I guess the Benghazi committee, or the Republicans who I think are very fearful of Hillary Clinton, because the recent polls show that not only Hillary Clinton, but Joe Biden beats all the Republicans at this point. But Hillary Clinton has been out there as the large looming threat for Republicans. And I think that's why the email service scandal has picked up with the media much more than with Democrats, by the way, who still support Hillary Clinton. But you're right, with the server now there's the opportunity to go in and find out exactly all that was there. And just, I think it could actually help Hillary Clinton at this point.
You buy that, George?
How help her? Explain.
Because if there's nothing there, there's nothing there. I mean, what we've enjoyed for the most part so far is her emails with Sidney Blumenthal, her distaste for Clarence Thomas, her, you know, all this kind
Her
of
top secret emails, the classified emails.
There's nothing. There's just
But
nothing.
you have to acknowledge that at the very least, this has been almost a wasted period for her and her campaign.
That's the point.
6 months.
6
That's
months
the
occupied
point.
by
Not only that,
emails.
That's the point.
She has shown an almost chronic inability to tell the truth about this. Every time she announces something and makes an explanation, pretty soon we find out that it isn't true. Over and over and over again. Now, she says that all those emails were personal. There are 30,000 of them. Does anybody seriously think that if they can be retrieved, that the investigators will go through all those emails and find all of them were personal? I doubt it.
I wonder if there might be something, for instance, about the Clinton Foundation and about...
Yeah, well, of course.
All right, I got to switch because we're running out of time, because this was also the week when the Republican field descended into playground taunts. Here's just a taste.
I'm talking about persona. I'm not talking about look.
Just maybe I'm getting under his skin a little bit because I am climbing in the polls.
That's a very big part of who I am. Humility and the fear of the Lord. I don't get that impression with him.
I don't know Ben Carson. He was a doctor, perhaps an okay doctor, by the way.
Donald Trump is not a serious candidate. He's a narcissist. He's an egomaniac.
Brit, were there any winners here?
Well, no, I don't think so. Ben Carson ended up apologizing for what he said, expressing doubts about Trump's Christian faith. And I don't think Bobby Jindal has so far gained much. What tends to happen in these situations is when some politician attacks another in a race like this, is it may hurt the candidate who's under attack, but it tends also not to particularly to help the candidate who does the attacking. The benefit of it tends to redound to somebody else. So that's sort of where I think this is, and there's little evidence yet that these attacks have begun to hurt Trump, although if they're mounted in a sustained way over time, they may indeed hurt him.
You know, I think it's helping Trump. I do. I look at the polls this week. I think Trump has now triple the support that he had when he got in this race. He's up, I think, 8 to 10 points since August, Brit. He's gaining not only, I mean, this is a thrill. This is unbelievable to me. He's gaining with women. He's gaining with college-educated people. Now, more than half of Republicans think he is the inevitable nominee. So all roads lead to Donald Trump. Every conversation about a candidate in this race is about their reaction to Donald Trump.
George?
When, as surely it does, the air starts leaking out of the Trump balloon, credit should go to Bobby Jindal, who in his speech at the National Press Club this week did not tiptoe around the issue. He said this is an extremely destructive man doing extreme damage to the Republican brand.
But don't you
and the
think
tone
the
of
fact is
American
at
politics.
1% of the polls, and this is the only way he can get any attention? I mean, if he'd given a speech on tax reform, frankly, we would have ignored it.
And we would have ignored it because it's not timely. Taking on Trump is timely, and the only Republican who's had the kidney to do it in a robust way is Bobby Jindal.
But George, what about their base? Doesn't the base get mad at you?
Juan, this isn't the 5.
No, I'm just saying.
Julie, very quickly, because this is the only time we have left. What do they make of this at the White House?
They are happy to let the Trump show play on for as long as possible. They think it's great for Democrats in the long run.
And do they think that what Trump says is going to end up hurting whoever the nominee is?
Well, I mean, certainly you've seen people like Scott Walker trying to follow Trump to some degree. So if they think the more that candidate, the rest of the field tries to do that, the more it will hurt Republicans down the line.
All right, we have to take a break here, but we'll see you a little later.